Cool. So thanks, Phil. As he said, my name is Stuart Hopley. I'm one of the workplace pension specialists at Scottish Widows. It gives me a lot of privilege to work for Scottish Widows because I can help people understand better all about their workplace pension and truly help them in that financial well-being space. And before I start, let's get you on Slido straight away. This is a question that comes out of a bit of fun that we try and have with people to try and identify what their pension personality is. So if you can go on Slido, how often do you check your pension pot? It was brilliant to hear the last session talk about it and actually promote people going on and understanding what they've got. So is it regularly to see if it needs a boost? I can't remember the last time I checked. Maybe that's you. I don't get around to it, or often to make sure I'm on track. So we'll have a little look at the results later on rather than now, so you've got a bit of time to complete that. And as Phil said, my short discussion today is about in terms of auto-enrolment. It's captured a lot of the UK population already. But are you actually ready for retirement? Will you have enough in your retirement? And actually, my job at Scottish Widows, or one of the many parts of what we do, is asking people genuinely to ask any question about pensions. Ask us about their finances. Genuinely give them an opportunity to be able to understand better about their workplace pension. And for me, it doesn't make me a great dinner guest, I'm afraid. But actually, even over dinner, even over family dinners, I often get asked about pensions. And I'm not going to do a mother-in-law joke, by the way, but my dear mother-in-law there actually said the one day, "Oh, pensions are rubbish, aren't they? It's not worth it. Why not just invest in shares, ISAs, property, in fact, anything but pensions? They're just rubbish." And I thought, oh, here we go. But I thought, fine, let's have a bit of fun with this. So what do you mean? What's going on? You've been employed for a long time for a FTSE 100 company. And she went, yeah, we had an old pension. It stopped, and then I had a replacement, and I didn't think it was very good. So I went, okay. And after another glass of wine, she actually came out with some of her paperwork. And she got a final salary scheme that, yes, it was frozen. She got a replacement workplace pension. It had got a six-figure sum in it. She got an old pension from a previous employer. And of course, I reminded her about her state pension as well. And by the end of it, she also understood that pensions, of course, they're pretty much the only legal investment where you can double your money overnight in terms of your employer contribution matching your own. So, of course, I'm number one son-in-law, which is brilliant. But actually, it made us think, more importantly, what are the three main questions that people have about pensions? They'll have lots of questions. How does it work? What happens if I die? Can I transfer existing ones? But fundamentally, what have I got? Is it enough? And what do I need to do to make it better? What do I need to do next? And those are the three, above anything else, the most important questions around pensions. Now, I said about you're in, and that was a nod towards auto-enrolment. And we've had auto-enrolment now for 7 years. And actually, it's captured the vast majority, well, every employer. If you start a new business right now, you're in auto-enrolment straight away. So every employer has declared their compliance against the legislation. And you can see around 2/3 of UK workforce are in that pension. And that's fantastic. But there's around 1/3 of people that are not in scope. That could be people who are self-employed. That also could be people that are under 22 or not eligible for auto-enrolment. So there's still more that we can do. And actually, if I think of our England team last night beating Japan, we ran a piece of research last year that looked at the World Cup of pensions and our pension system competing against others in the World Cup. And it's quite unusual for England. We actually made it to the last game, near enough. We lost in the semis, but we won the third place playoff. And that's an indication of the quality of our pension schemes or our pension system compared to other areas of the world. So we actually have a decent pension system here. But we've got a bigger problem. And for anybody who was in the main session here last year, you had Linda Grattan talking about her co-authored piece around the 100-year life. 50% of the babies born in 2007 are expected, in the developed world, are expected to live to at least age 100. So your bigger problem is this. You've got a pension system that's created for people that should start work in their teens, work for around 40 to 50 years, and then retire for around 5 to 15 years. With a 100-year life, you've got a lot longer a lot longer in retirement. So the QED is you either got to work longer or save more. And given the last session and the sentiment involved there, we don't really want to work longer, do we? So we've got a bigger problem coming. Now, Scottish Widows have run a piece of research called the Retirement Report. We're in our 15th year now. It looks at the adequate savings index. It's basically how well people are doing on that road to retirement. And it's always been around 50% of people on track for a decent retirement. That's ticked up a little bit. So we're now over 50% of people on track, and that's because of auto-enrolment. But the job isn't done. We've still got 44% of people that are not adequately saving for retirement. And that's partly because the auto-enrolment minimum rate is 8%. 9% for some schemes. Some workplace schemes might have a higher minimum, but generally 8%. And that's just not enough. It's not enough. And of course, you've seen all sorts of research already today, and including the last session, that called out that people do get stressed, of course, about their finances. And they don't necessarily want to express it to either their employer or indeed, well, anybody, particularly not their colleagues, obviously, from the last bit of research. Pensions as well, thinking about those people who are out of scope, pensions as well are something that we all put off. But in terms of that cost of delay graph here, it's clear to see that putting it off is not an option. I was presenting yesterday to a firm down in Exeter, and it was their employees in a session at 8 o'clock yesterday morning. And at the end of the session, the best thing happened. A young chap came back in the room and he said, "Can I join this scheme now, please?" And I was aghast because he didn't look that young. Well, he was young. He didn't look that young. But he was 19. So, of course, he was one of those people out of scope of auto-enrolment. So, of course, he can go away and opt in straight away. So he's going to enjoy 3 years' worth of contributions earlier than he would have done through just sticking with the system. So brilliant, brilliant to see. So a lot of work to do. So how do we do it? Well, we know people are confused by pensions. We know that from the research we commissioned along with a number of other independent governance committees 3 years ago. And it told us that 14,000 people in workplace pensions are confused about pensions. And that's through a lack of knowledge, and that breeds distrust, and you might see some more derogatory terms up there that doesn't make me very proud. But it is my goal to smash those myths that are creating that confusion. So how do we do it? Well, we try and have some fun, because when people have fun, they do remember stuff. So you've looked at that questionnaire already, you've done your Slido question. It forms part of our wider What's Your Pension Personality? And there's lots of questions in there about how do you feel, what do you do about pensions? So this is the one you've asked. Guys, can we switch to Slido, please, and see what the results are? So a decent spread. So I'd like to think you're perhaps a more engaged audience than the majority. But it's fair to say, and more of you answering, it's fair to say that we don't always look at our pension often enough. Is it fair to say out of sight, out of mind? And certainly from my experience, if I can go back to the slide deck, please, guys. Certainly from my experience, one of the majority results we get from this survey is you're an optimistic ostrich, and it's as the name suggests, you do anything to change the subject. I do at dinner. I do anything to change the subject off pensions. People don't like talking about money, but actually you should, and as early as possible, you absolutely should. So we try and have a bit of fun with things. We are in a total technological revolution. You've got your pension in your pocket now through your smartphone, through apps, through a whole host of ways to access your finances, including aggregate vehicles such as the Money Hub here. People being able to see everything in one place and having some form of guidance to understand what's going on with their money. But it does put responsibility on the individual to go and open the thing, to go and look at it, to almost have that conversation, if with nobody, but at least with yourself. So it's out of sight, out of mind again. So that's why at Lloyds Banking Group, we've run one of the largest experiments in the digital space to date. And it's where we're presenting people's value of their pension alongside their bank account. So if I asked you the same question on Slido, I'm not going to, but if I asked you the same question on Slido about how often do you check your bank account, maybe just by a show of hands, anybody done that today? Keep your hands up. Yesterday? The day before? So almost all of you in the last 3 days have checked your bank account. So if you did bank with Lloyds, Halifax, or Bank of Scotland, and you had a pension with Scottish Widows, you would have also seen your pension value as well. Now, that experiment started small. We've increased it because we did see really positive results by it. And in terms of encompassing all banks, open banking, obviously, will help us widen that space as well. So a really fantastic way to help people normalise the view of pensions as part of their everyday life. The problem with normalising the value of your pension is people see it more often. And of course, pensions typically are invested in the stock market. The money will go up and down. It might actually, by a result, create some worry. So we need to talk more about pensions as well. And of course, for those people that aren't going to be nudged through some form of digital technology, we need to provide a platform for people to be able to talk about their pension. So we do that in a whole host of ways at Scottish Widows. Not just face-to-face presentations, but video and recorded via WebEx induction and welcome presentations. Giving people some proper education about what the pension's designed to do, how it works, and what they can get out of it. And of course, dispelling that immediate confusion myth. We've got podcasts as well because we're wary that not everybody can actually see something, particularly if we're in the transport industry, but of course people can tend to listen to stuff. And we've got a lot of video content, both in communications material and in relevant places across our website, that dispels myths and answers the most basic questions about pensions. And I'll just give you an idea of one of the video contents that we've got.
If you already have a company pension, that's a great start. Your annual benefit statement will show how you're shaping up for retirement. Make sure your saving habits are changing with your circumstances, like a salary increase or a bonus. You may be able to transfer existing pensions into your company pension too, but check first with a financial advisor. When you pay into your pension, you'll benefit from tax relief on your contributions, and your employer usually pays in too. Over time, even small amounts can really add up. The pension calculator on the Money Advice Service website shows how small changes now could make a big difference when you retire.
So a nice piece of short, snappy video answering a fairly basic question about pensions. I could have played you, what is the state pension? What happens on death? What are my retirement options? We're not afraid to deal with some more complex ones. What is the lifetime allowance? What is the money purchase annual allowance? What happens if I move abroad? There's a whole host of these questions that we've answered through video content. And the amount of views, you can see them on our YouTube channel, the amount of views is actually incredible that people are accessing that educational content. We also deploy it in email material. And that's the clever bit, because it's one thing having a video, but how do you provide that to people? So employers have got access to that material. They can use that material to answer frequently asked questions that they get. They can also proactively cascade material to promote people's knowledge and awareness. Obviously here we've got welcome to our retirement journey, so we're also advocating not just video now, but personalised video as well. Into your email box with a piece of film that's specific to hello Robert, hello Rachel, whoever that might be. We're also blending the paper-based approach with the digital space. So you'll see we're using a Zapper technology in some of that paper base there, the little lightning strike squiggle. That's our augmented reality. Through that postcard, you wave your smartphone over it and it takes you to a relevant piece of either video or in the digital space, part of the website. So again, it takes you from that paper or face-to-face experience and takes you into that digital space where you can do many more things. So really important to make time to talk about your pension. So obviously I'm advocating time in the workplace. I'm obviously giving people an opportunity to ask all of their questions about pensions, exactly what it says on the jacket in terms of ask me anything about pensions. But also we do incorporate that fun as part of the event. And the fun in this context is our Age Me game, and you might have heard me speak about this last year. It's effectively a pension planning tool. It takes a picture of you, captures a short piece of information about what you're doing in terms of planning for pensions, and then ages you appropriately to see how you're doing. And of course, you don't want to be 92 or indeed 100 in terms of accessing your pension. So the reality is it's nudging people, disturbing people into a bit of, let's get real about what your pension's going to give you. I don't want to scare people, but and it was mentioned in the last session, if you stay in the workplace too long, that in itself is financial stress. because you don't feel that you can afford to retire. With people taking pictures, I'm glad my picture's not up there now. So what we're asking really is to give people some help to manage the jars. And it was interesting in the last session that it was said that no provider will talk about all of your finances in one place. Well, actually, you're pretty naive if you don't, because everybody's finances, everybody's jars are different. Common across all of them might be retirement, but everybody's jars and therefore their objectives are different. So again, at Scottish Widows, we've got a financial wellness platform that we call Be Money Well. It starts with the most basic end, the day-to-day finances, things that happen on a rainy day, protecting yourself against the unexpected. We talk about that too. We talk about the really bad days, bereavement counselling. The whole financial wellness program should be holistic. It shouldn't just be focused on the products that I've got as a provider. It should be holistic. Obviously, I talk about retirement as well. And I loop that into that single view of finances and that great user experience. And I don't just leave people understanding what they've got and wondering where they can go for more help. That's where, effectively, the financial education content, both in the event space and also online, helps people. Now, if you come and see us at our stand outside, I've got that Batak game out there. And it's really, again, about having a bit of fun, understanding all of the different finances. It might prompt a conversation, but while we're doing it, we'll have a daft little game that might be to win a prize. Incidentally, the prize is £200 today. Not in cash, but in holiday vouchers. So go and have a go with the guys outside. The feedback after our experience or after the support we have for employers is always fantastic. We're providing a platform for people to help really understand what they've got. And I'm most proud with the centre word in that piece of feedback, which is fun, because that's what I'm trying to provide. So say again, if you have fun, you'll remember it. And that's really what we're trying to give here. Do you want to go back there? You might have also heard us speak about our absolute passion, and hopefully you're getting the feeling of that, our absolute passion for people having awareness about pensions and making the most of it. And I can think of no better example than in the last 5 years, we've toured the UK, we've gone to cities of the UK to talk about pensions, and we've taken a large vehicle to key employer clients of us as well. And I'll give you a flavour of what went on.
So this is the Scottish Widows Pension Bus. We take this bus around the country to visit employers, let their employees come on board and find out all about their pensions. Let's have a look and see.
I love having the pension bus here. It's so big, it's really eye-catching for our employees walking from the car park into the building. It just gets them talking about pensions. Really great engagement tool.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I really like the concept of maybe turning something that might seem a bit boring to a lot of people and making it really fun and interactive.
The Pension Awareness Day Tour is so important because we're passionate about people understanding what they've got, is it enough, and where they can get more help.
I've just found out I'm going to be working till I'm over 100 years old. I'm annoyed about it and I'm going to go sort it out.
Having the bus here last year encouraged 33 people to increase their pension contributions.
So I actually thought I knew quite a lot about my company pension, but coming on the pension bus I found a lot about additional benefits that I didn't know were there.
We've had tons of people that have come along to find out more about pensions, how much they have to save for their future, and the feedback about the presentations has been fantastic.
I've looked into investment funds before, but I didn't know that I could do that with my pension, so it's good for me to start thinking about it.
I had a lot of questions about my pension, and obviously at my age I've started thinking about my pension and what I want to do. You know, you've answered all my questions. Thank you.
So I've just been on the pension bus and I found out I don't really know how much I contribute, so I'm going to go back inside and have a look.
It's just been really kind of insightful to know things aren't as complicated as you probably thought.
I'm loving the pension bus. I think it's awesome. It's created a great buzz amongst the whole company and everyone is excited about pensions.
So this is where all the pension education's been taking place. We've had investment experts and pensions experts up here running sessions for employees all over the country. We'd love it if your employees got a chance to experience that too.
So before I'm taken off the stage, because Phil's holding the stop button at me, We're on tour again this year. It starts at the end of August, and obviously I'm basing the tour on those three key questions. Helping my mother-in-law understand what she's got, value what she's got, most importantly understand whether it's enough with a bit of fun along the way. And obviously we're here to help them with what they need to do next. So thank you.